Hey friend, this is Jennifer, and this is the Jennifer Allwood Show, the podcast for women who want to learn how to live an intentional life or build their creative business. I'll be giving you my very best business tips, bringing you interesting guests, giving you a daily dose of Jesus, and I'm committed to always keeping it real. Grab a cup of coffee and let's dive in. I'm so honored that you're here. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Monday Fire. This is episode number 7, where I'm just going to give you some food for thought for the week. And so what I want to talk to you about today is an interesting predicament that I think a lot of us are currently finding ourselves in on social media. And especially if you're a social media influencer, there are just a lot of challenges, I think, right now when it comes to social media, where we're walking on like this tightrope of recording life versus like actually living life. Does that make sense? Like I was watching, and please hear me when I say this is nothing political. I was watching some things on social media this week with the women's soccer team, which just, won the big championship. And I was watching all these people in Kansas City who were in this place in Kansas City where there was just tons and tons of celebration. And as the video camera for the television like panned the entire space, I just couldn't help but see how many people had their phones up. And everybody was recording the same thing on their phones. And so, it's this interesting time we're in where we're able to record everything, which then I wonder if is really taking us out of actually enjoying it in real time. So I know recently I was speaking with the founder of Every, which is one of my new very favorite clothing stores. So I was speaking with Megan Tampty on episode 124, and we were just discussing social media and some of the challenges. And I know Megan said, and this was, I think, just really, really profound. You should go listen to episode 124 if you're interested. But Megan was saying that she had found herself, watching other people on social media follow their dreams. She had been fascinated with watching what other people were doing and how they were doing it in real time on social media, but she was just watching them instead of working on her own dreams. And I thought that was fascinating. And then I was talking about how I feel like so many people are more concerned about recording the memory and sharing the memory than actually participating in the memory. So let me give you some examples. Because this is something God is really working with me on. And at the end of this really short food for thought here, I'm going to give you a challenge. But the family and I were just recently in Mexico. Perhaps you follow me on Instagram. I shared a lot of our travels on Instagram stories. If you missed it, you can go look at the highlights for vacations or travel, one of the two, on my Instagram profile and find them there. But anyway, it's like this tightrope, because as somebody who is a social media influencer, it's hard. Because, there's always this fine line of, do I want to, still try to keep up with social media, but disconnect also from social media so I can actually, have some downtime and really live my life. There's this fine balance of, do I want to really be a good mom in real life who's really playing games with my kids, who's really playing Barbies with my daughter, who's really painting our nails? Or do I want to just take the picture and put it on social media so that everybody will think I'm a good mom? Maybe you don't think of these things. Maybe it's just me. I think to myself sometimes when I'm working out right now, because my health has become super important for me, especially knowing that in Q1 of next year, mark your calendars, we've got both my book launch, also my Equipped Women's Conference, also my Creators Roadmap launching. So I know that I have got to be as healthy as I physically can. And so in my head, when I'm working out, I'm like, do I take a picture of working out and post it? Or do I just really need to focus on being healthy for the sake of being healthy and not feel like I need to post everything? In Mexico, I was like, do I actually, post a bunch of pictures of us being in Mexico, or do I just enjoy Mexico? Everywhere I looked, you guys, there were people, who were recording their life. And that's, I feel like a scary thing for myself and for everyone included. I think it's so easy for us to look at social media and think that we're seeing real life for different people's, especially influencers, what they're really living. But the truth is, they're staging so much of that, my friends. And I think it's really unhealthy for us to be constantly comparing what our life currently looks like to what the lives of, and I use the air quotes, influencers in parentheses look like. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Like, let me give you an example. Recently, I went to an event where I really wanted to get a selfie taken with somebody that has a really big brand, somebody who is very well known. And in my head, I was like, oh, I just can't wait to get the picture so that I can share the picture. And then I was reminded of an interaction I have had with Joanna Gaines on more than one occasion. I have had the honor of meeting Chip and Joe several times, twice in Waco with them at their events, and they've spoke at the Kansas City Home Show in Kansas City twice where I've been at the events. And so Joanna really taught me something that she didn't use words to teach. She just modeled it really well. Joe, if you're listening, which I'm certain she's not. But I just appreciate this about her. So I can remember when Joe had a line, and I call her Joe like we're friends. We're not, but I love her. And I have a handwritten note from her. In fact, I have two. But anywho, so Joanna had a meet and greet line at one of her VIP events that I paid to go to. And I remember being in that VIP line. I could not wait to get a selfie with her. But I want to tell you something that she did. She literally, first of all, huge hug out of her. She's a hugger. Second of all, eye contact, deep eye contact, which, by the way, deep eye contact with Joanna Gaines is really unnerving because she's just so precious and everything about her is so polished. You know what I mean? So the deep eye contact, amazing. But then an actual conversation too. Joanna had, 100 and some people in a VIP line, but she literally took 2 seconds of time to actually have a real life conversation with me. And it showed me that she was interested not only in allowing all of us to have a picture with her, but in actually making us feel like real life people. And I know when we had my Equipped event in Kansas City this last year, and we did selfie lines, each day at the end of the day. And I tried to do the same thing. I tried to really, it was, people were like, we got to get the line moving. And I'm like, I know, but I just can't. I really need to have a conversation with these people because they're real life people. And so I'm concerned that as a world, we're getting more concerned with sharing the selfie than we are sharing ourself. And I'm just wanting to just throw this out here for food for thought. I just recently did my episode 122 on the correlation between growing a business and working out. And that just continues to always in my head, I'm like, do I share what I'm doing that I've been able to get healthier and lose 25 pounds? Do I share that or do I just live my life? Does everything have to be shareable? And I don't know that I know the right answer, but here is what I wanted to actually challenge you with this week in this Monday Fire. I wanted to actually challenge you with really living our life this week and not just making it look like on social media that we're living life. I know there was one time years ago when a friend of mine shared something on Facebook that has stuck with me for years and years and years. And it actually just came back up on my Facebook memories recently. Thank you, Facebook, for having Facebook memories. But it was a graphic that said, what if every time we considered logging onto Facebook this week, we hugged our kids instead? And I was like, ooh, then. And I'm still like, ooh, now. What if every time this week, you and I, instead of running to Instagram to see how many people have shared our content or sent us a DM, what if this week, every time we were challenged or we were, thinking about doing that, instead we challenged ourselves to compliment our spouse? What if instead of running to Facebook, which I believe we're still on an average of 14 times a day as an average person logs into Facebook, what if instead of logging into Facebook 14 times a day, we logged in twice and the other 12 times a day we hugged our kids? I'm just curious if we were to live our life instead of record our life, if we could really, really make a difference. And part of this conviction for me too is just having 4 little people in our home who are watching mom and they're watching me record and they're learning what is normal. And they're also watching my husband, who's not on social media at all, who is not tied to his phone, who could leave his phone somewhere for a couple hours before he would ever even know it was missing. And when I look at the freedom that I think that he walks in versus the bondage that sometimes I feel to social media, it just makes me want to live freer of trying to prove that I'm living on social media. So I challenge you this week with me to maybe disengage just a little bit off social media. You can do plenty of pre-scheduling. And instead, I challenge you this week just to hug your kids more, to compliment your spouse more, to actually live your life instead of record the living of your life. So I hope that is encouraging for someone today. And bless you as you go about your week. Until next week, blessings to you guys. Bye-bye.